What's going on, everyone? It's DC3 Johnson here, coming with the another Madden 20 franchise mode video. This should probably be simming the last 5 weeks of the first season, and as you guys can imagine, we haven't been doing the best of things, but obviously, the Cardinals are a rebuilding team, and we're rebuilding around our young squad and Kyler Murray and Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella, and on defense, my boy, I think it's Brandon Murphy. I'm sorry, I'm probably botching it right now. Sorry, I'm still learning everybody's names here, but so we take a quick peek at the contract extensions, and I think I am going to re-sign our left end. I mean, at the end of the day, if we find someone better in free agency, which we should have a decent amount of money, I'm anticipating probably about 40 to 50 million, which should get us some help on defense, which I think to us is still our weakest point. Some of these contracts I'm willing to walk away from, but always don't fool yourself with the overalls. So as you saw, that left the Tyrus, our left linebacker, even though he's a 73 overall, he's in the top 26% for his position. So you always want to take a quick peek at that when re-signing people, because that was one of the mistakes I made early on in Madden. Is I would just look at the overalls, because I come from NBA, so NBA, it's like, the higher the overall, great, okay, we're good, and but the thing is, like, the thing I noticed with football is the ratings don't necessarily match up, like that is, just because there's like 10 wide receivers in the 90s doesn't mean that there's 10 linebackers, and etc basically. So always double check that percentage. Right now, since our pick is going to be really high, I think we should focus on scouting the top prospects. Obviously, we didn't focus on quarterbacks because we already have our guy Kyler Murray, who we're going to commit this entire franchise to, and so no point in looking at someone like Joe Burrow. But definitely, we pick up the first pick, you already know we're going to trade, because everyone's going to get Joe Burrow. So we'd be able to basically double down, take a L, even though we have no intention of drafting him, and get a bunch of picks from the other teams, basically. Maybe even potentially get like 3 first-round picks. Because I've seen it before. People go crazy about Joe Burrow, like the teams overall. And definitely this upcoming week we focused on getting centers. Obviously, we picked up a nice win over the Rams. Which was great because we kind of needed the momentum. The other thing I would definitely recommend is, even though there's some that are listed as undrafted, I would always try to scout all the players that match your scheme fit. So like the little purple dash next to the names, because that means that like it brings the, I don't know, it just works really well with the sim, like when you're simming stuff, that like it allows you to do slightly better, because yeah, you might, like, say for example, you might have like a 77 that doesn't necessarily meet your like scheme fit, like say like the West Coast spread or base 4-3. And if you have someone that's maybe like a 1 or 2 points lower, but they are a fit to the scheme that you're running, you end up doing better. So one point little recommendation, basically, as we head to week 14, and unfortunately we don't pick up the win here. We come up a little short, but I'm not really too surprised. At the end of the day, it's not that we're tanking, it's just we're just not good. I mean, the one thing I will say, and definitely you guys can learn from this, is, at the end of the day, I tried to basically give Kyler Murray more like options on offense. So I ended up going with like signing Des Bryant, just hoping to kind of help his development, but I think it kind of basically backfired. We'll see. I'm interested to see, because so that's how you know that sometimes, like, just by getting one guy, that doesn't necessarily mean much of a difference, as literally he comes up and we finally get him up to a 76 overall here. So missed opportunity, but overall I think we should still be okay. I think he'll still, because I know in the 3 simulations I've run before this one, he usually ends up peaking at like a 91, 92 on my end. And now I don't know. See, I would want to do disregard, but I feel like it brings more pressure to the team, and then since we don't end up putting a lot of options on him, I think we end up losing because of that. But if we commit all of our resources to stopping him, then I think we still end up losing. So to me, my best thing is just like, oh, slow him down. Because if you hit neutralize, what you're telling your offense and defensive coordinators is like, oh, well, commit all your resources to making sure this doesn't happen, basically. And then the problem is, it opens the doors to other things to happen, which in our team, if we focus all of our resources on stopping one player, well, then they're gonna hit the running game, and then that's how we'll lose, basically. So it's one of those lose-lose situations. But if you guys find a groove to how to answer these questions, then take it. Definitely take it. And so I think now at this point, since we are struggling on defense, I'm going to take Kirk off. I mean, he's already a 78 overall, so he did pretty good. So it's Byron Murphy. I was saying Brian. Sorry, I apologize. But we're bringing him back basically to the focused on training. And look at that, it worked out perfectly because we're able to basically get him enough XP to level up to a 76, which will give us a little point advantage on defense, basically. Now, take a look at our guy who we just re-signed. So if you see, it's recommended, like the little purple dash was on the second one. And so that's one of the reasons why I definitely recommend when you're upgrading. Like if there's certain players you want to basically develop, you want to do that manually. Because sometimes the CPU will just upgrade the first one on the list, and that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be good for your team, basically. So it'll help him, it'll help the player, but at the cost of helping the team out. So especially, we need every single point we can to basically to keep this team chemistry going, basically. So definitely one recommendation there, guys. I mean, we lost to the Seahawks. I'm not surprised. I mean, I think they're on top of the division. They have Russell Wilson and they have a bunch of good guys on offense. So not surprised there. And they're telling us about Aaron Donald. I honestly don't know, bro. We'll just try to slow him down. Like you just keep panicking, bro. No, I know it's their job basically to ask me if week by week, basically. What's the plan for Todd Gurley? Just slow him down. If he has a good game, well, that's all we can do, you know. Hold him to 1 rushing touchdown, sure. And an injury decision, which high chance of re-injury. I mean, it is the last week, so normally I always hit start backup, but I'm like, what's it gonna cost us? We're not making the playoffs. If he gets injured this week, oh my god, it's so horrible. We don't have any games left, so it's like, we're good. And then, part of the reason, guys, why I haven't re-signed some of these players, I might have mentioned in the previous video, is because some of these guys will end up lowering their overall. So someone like Matt Bryan will probably end up dropping like 3 or 4 points. So the offer will drop significantly, basically. So right now I think Matt Bryan was asking for like 3 million. That number might go down to like 2 million. And it's the same with a bunch of other players that want like really good deals. The other reason why is because the first time I ran this like a test run, I re-signed Larry Fitzgerald. And I don't know if it's a glitch, but he ended up retiring. But I ended up having a cap penalty because of the signing bonus, even though he was no longer on any team or anything like that. So I'm assuming it's a glitch or something. But so that's why I always recommend just waiting until basically the off season to do it. I mean, you still have one more chance basically to keep all the players that you want, but I definitely recommend just waiting for those players to drop. And right now we're focusing on just our options that we're not doing well. So we did left end, we did left tackle, and right end, because those are like the weakest ones based on the grading and stuff. And see, with our halfback, same thing. We focused more on the receiving end, so we want to have that option, because right now we have David Johnson, but David Johnson will start declining in about a year or two, so we want to have that option just ready to go and be good there, as our right receiver goes up to a 73. I think he's our 4th option. So definitely good. Let's sim. Let's just take care of this. I mean, doesn't really matter. Oh, we lost. Oh my god, I'm so disappointed. So we do end up with 4 wins on season 1 here. I'll go ahead and show you guys the standings, and then on the next part, what I'll do is I'll run the entire playoffs and off season, free agency, and if depending on, I don't want to make the video too long. I think 10 to 15 minutes is pretty good. So if we have to make the draft on the next video, then I'll go ahead and do that. We'll do draft and draft in preseason. But I'm curious because there's one miss. Oh, and somehow the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes only won 8 games. I find that really tough to believe, but whatever. And so now, just one last thing before we end the video here. So I'm gonna trade negotiations because we are getting close to the draft, and we are gonna focus a little bit on free agency influence. So that's what I definitely spent my Coach XP points on. And we're going to auto upgrade these players. And guys, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. I'll try to put another video as quickly as possible. Hit the subscribe button if you guys are interested. I got NBA 2K, UFC, and MLB.